Good morning, everyone. My name is Gina Schaefer, and I'm the owner here at Frager's Ace Hardware. And I would like to just take a second to welcome the mayor and her team and my team to this really momentous day in Washington, D.C. We have spent countless years advocating on behalf of raising the minimum wage and making things better for everyone who lives and works in Washington. And this is a really big day for us. So I'm going to turn it over to everyone else for some remarks. And thank you for coming to our store.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. How you all doing this morning?
Fantastic.
My name is Latoya Arnold, and I am the event coordinator. I am a DC native, so this is awesome to be a part of this today. And thank you for allowing all of us here at Frager's to share this opportunity with you. Thank you. And now I will turn it over.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you,
no,
Latoya.
thank you.
Oh. Well, good morning, everybody. I am just really delighted to be here. And Gina, thank you for having us in your store and for being a wonderful owner. I know you have several locations here in the district, and I'm sure everybody in the surrounding neighborhood is happy to have Frager's back now, I guess almost 2 months, and to see these wonderful employees. So please give them a big round of applause. And look at this garden paradise. So make sure that we're coming out as we're beautifying our yards and supporting one of our fantastic local businesses. Let us give a big round of applause to Latoya, too, representing one of the hardworking people here at Frager's with her colleagues. But we are here to celebrate another milestone in our fight for 15. You're going to hear a little bit from Jaime Contreras a little bit later, who has been fighting this good fight. And we're happy today because it's July 1st. We go to another incremental increase in our minimum wage, and now it's $14 an hour in the District of Columbia. And as promised, by 2020, it'll be $15 in the District of Columbia. Frager's is clearly a landmark here in Ward 6 that has been doing business for nearly 100 years and has meant so much to this community. So I hope that everyone will come by to visit the new Frager's. I've said many times that one of the most important ways that we can give more Washingtonians a fair shot is by getting residents connected to good-paying jobs. A pathway to the middle class for many people starts with a good-paying minimum wage job. So in 2016, Washington, D.C. joined the fight for 15. We recognized then that increasing the minimum wage would not just increase people's paychecks, but it would give them the opportunity to work on the things in a pathway that would allow them to sustain their families right here in the District of Columbia. When I signed this bill into law, part of the reason we were so excited is because we knew then that we would be helping 100,000 workers in our city. So as we celebrate this milestone, we also acknowledge that our work continues to bring more residents in the district, the prosperity that this city is experiencing. That's why this year, when we put together our budget, we were very focused on how we can create more programs and policies that make our city more affordable for families and residents across the income spectrum. And the way we're doing that is by making big investments across the board, including $52 million more in investing in child care, a record $116 million in our housing production trust fund. We increased our investment in Safe at Home for the district seniors by $2 million. We made our early child care tax credit permanent and eliminated the diaper tax on D.C. families. We also made big investments in our small and local businesses like Frager's, but we know that when we do all of these things, when we focus on making housing and healthcare and transportation more affordable, that we better connect people to housing and jobs and to a fair shot in our city. So before I finish, I want to thank everyone in the community, the workers, the unions, elected officials, and everyone in D.C. government that has been a part of the fight for 15. So now it brings me great pleasure we're going to hear from Dr. Morris Hughes, who is our DOES director, followed by Jaime Contreras from SEIU. Thank you, Director Hughes.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. Thanks again, Gina Schaefer and Mark Friedman, owner of Fragers, and their staff today for hosting us. As the director of the D.C. Department of Employment Services, I have the honor of advancing Mayor Bowser's vision of ensuring district residents receive a fair shot at economic prosperity through job creation and quality workforce training. Today we celebrate the minimum wage increase from $13.25 to $14 per hour, and the tipped minimum wage will also increase from $3.89 to $4.45 per hour. As stated today in our remarks, the Fight for 15 commitment is to increase the DC's minimum wage from $15 to $20.20. The Office of Wage and Hour, which I oversee, ensures the adherence of labor laws, including enforcement of minimum wage increases across the district. Under Mayor Bowser's leadership, the district has been committed to helping residents become competitive in the workforce and connecting them to opportunities for full employment, lifelong learning, economic stability, and the highest quality of life. I could not be any prouder to work under an administration that puts the prosperity of district residents first. Our mayor knows the importance of and is committed to ensuring every single district resident has access to workforce development, services, and every business, large or small, is able to thrive in our great city. And we at the Department of Employment Services are fiercely committed to supporting district residents and gaining access to a fair shot at a pathway to the middle class. I want to thank everybody who came out today. And now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jaime Contreras. Thank you.
All right.
Good to see you. Good morning. My name is Jaime Contreras. I'm the Vice President for SEIU Local 32BJ. Our union represents 173,000 workers in 11 states, including 20,000 workers in the D.C. area, most of whom work in Washington, D.C. These are people who maintain and secure city buildings, commercial office buildings as well, airports, universities in the area, and they are what some call the invisible workforce. These workers have a union. They are represented by 32BJ, by their family members who work at businesses like this. And by the way, congratulations, what an exemplary business this is that we're standing here today. Their family members who work at places, like this or Target or other places do not have a union and make minimum wage jobs. So we cannot underestimate what a $15 minimum wage would do for a worker who works 2 and 3 jobs, which are even our members, some of them work 2 jobs. So this is an important milestone. So I wanted to thank the mayor for her leadership in making this happen. D.C. was one of the first cities in the country to make this happen, so I think that deserves another round of applause. This puts real workers, real families in a city that is really expensive to live in a path to getting into the middle class. So thanks again for having me here. Our members in 32BJ, they are the people, whether it's Montgomery County or PG County, where we have helped pass this same bill in Maryland as a state now. It's going to be part of the Fight for 15. They're going to get to 15 in a couple years. they fight hard. They work 2 and 3 jobs. These are the people who are behind the livelihood of getting $15 for other workers in the city who don't necessarily have a union. Their contract also expires this year, Madam Mayor, in October. And I know you've been with them in the past, and I know you've been with them this time around. So once again, thank you to the mayor and the city council for making this happen for so many workers in the city. And, we can't stop there. We got to keep going. Workers are going to be continuing to live in a city that's going to be more and more expensive to live. But we're very proud that the city was one of the first ones in the country to get this done. So thanks again.
Thank you, Jaime. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we'll take your questions. Questions. Mark.
Mayor Bowser, what do you say to business owners who still believe that a $15 minimum wage hurts their business?
Well, Mark, what we have seen, and I think you know that part of our plan was to raise the wage incrementally over a series of years. So since 2015, we have seen slow increases. Yikes. We have seen slow increases to the wage, and businesses are working and planning to absorb that. And they are working very hard to attract and retain great employees. We know that many of our employers are already paying a $15 an hour wage, and this will allow many others to provide what we think is a living wage in our city. Questions? Yes.
On the other hand, what would you say to residents of areas such as this who would say $15 isn't enough to live in a city like this?
We know that probably one $15 an hour job for a family won't be enough. You just heard Mr. Contreras talk about how many people are doing a lot to make ends meet in our city. So we know that we continue to invest in our workforce program that Dr. Morris Hughes oversees so that people are on a path to good paying jobs. But we know if you're working at a minimum wage job, certainly $11.25 wasn't enough, and $15, especially if you have 2 earners in your household, will get you further. But that's also why I mentioned what we're doing to create more affordable housing in our city, make transportation more reliable and less expensive. That's why we did the free circulator in the district, and we're going to keep pushing for that. And also investing in our families by making child care more affordable with a tax credit, for example. So there are a lot of things that we are doing to make D.C. more affordable. Yes.
American newspapers. I was wondering what penalties are in place for the businesses that don't want to comply with the new $15 or
Please say that
$14.
again.
I'm wondering what the penalty is for businesses who don't want to comply with the new $14.
Oh, I'll have the director talk about what we do with people that don't follow the law.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. So for those that do not follow the law, we have a pretty significant investigations arm, and the penalties range depending upon the allegation or the wrongdoing. So it ranges, and we don't have a set amount, but it ranges on the penalty. But what's really important to underscore here is that we enforce, and we monitor, and we investigate. And so if there is anyone interested in filing a tip, you can do so anonymously and find out more information about our investigations unit at does.dc.gov.
Tell us what compliance has been so far with the minimum wage.
Yeah, so we actually don't have a significant amount of complaints regarding minimum wage. We actually receive more complaints regarding wage theft, especially around tipped wages. And so I'm happy to follow up off camera with some specific details. But minimum wage is not a significant issue in terms of compliance.
Off topic.
Mayor Bowser, could you react to the violence over the weekend, specifically the shooting of a 3-year-old and 6-year-old who were simply sitting at a bus stop waiting for a bus and were shot during a drive-by shooting?
I'm going to ask the chief to brief out.
Yep. I'm a little taller.
No, it's broken, I think.
All right. Yeah, thanks for your question, Mark. Sadly, regarding the case that you mentioned, we had a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old along with some adults that were at a bus stop in the 800 block of Southern Avenue when at least one vehicle drove by and fired shots, striking 2 children that were there at the bus stop. There was another adult male that was also struck. And we're asking for the public's assistance right now with any information that may assist us in closing that case. There's a possibility that we'll be releasing a photo later on, a photo of interest, vehicle of interest to the community. We're looking for the community's help. 727-9099 is the number for any information, or our anonymous tip line, 50411.
Can you tell us the circumstances by which the 2 girls were there? Were they with family? Were they related to the adult victim who was shot?
The 2 children that were struck, they were at the bus stop with another family member that was also at the bus stop, and it does not appear that they were related to the other individual that was shot.
And the other individual who shot, was that the target of the shooting, do you believe?
We're not certain right now who the target of the shooting is, we're not certain who the target was in this incident. But right now, again, we're asking for the public's assistance.
And you had a homicide on 13th, I think, Place. What can you tell us about that?
Sure. In that case as well, we're looking for the public's assistance. Yesterday, just before 7 o'clock, we had a young man, 18 years of age. He turned 18 in May. And sadly enough, we found him suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was taken to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead. We're asking for the public's assistance with any information that may lead to the closure of that case. But right now, that's all we're discussing with respect to that case. There was another incident as well this weekend that resulted in a closure in the 1400 block of W Street. There was a young man that was shot and killed at that location, but that case was also closed out with an arrest last night, and I believe we released a press release on that case.
Do you have any reason to believe any of these 3 incidents are related to one another?
At this time, it does not appear any of those incidents are related.
Just your reaction. This is not the first time an innocent person has been shot waiting for a bus in the district. And this time and it's not the first time innocent children have been shot.
Well, this is what I want to say about that case in particular, Mark, is that people who know something about this case are not being cooperative with the police, and we need their cooperation. And we need any public witnesses to also come forward and let us know. Just as outraged as we are that children are exposed to this violence and victim to this violence, the whole community needs to be outraged at what transpired. And everyone who knows something about the case needs to come forward. Thank you.